Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. What's up, everybody? We back for the next part of our tutorial series. I know it's been a minute. I've actually been out of town. I had my first boxing match actually not too long ago. That was a crazy experience. And I just now finally got situated and back at my desk. Been on super dad time lately. But now I'm gonna go get started on the next part of our tutorial series, and we're gonna go ahead and get started on our shields. So what we're gonna get started on, we're gonna basically get our shield functionality started. We won't get it all completed in this part. And also another thing is I'm doing this live. Typically all of my other videos, I do it like I'll work ahead, make sure I'm doing it right, then I go back and record the video. But this time we're gonna do it right here live. So let's go ahead and get started. So we need to go and open up our character. So the one thing we are gonna need, I actually been working on it, you can tell. Delete. Let's start from scratch. All right, go to our viewport, and we see our hearts widget right here. We're gonna actually need to duplicate this. Duplicate. We're gonna call this shield widget. Boom, boom. And instead of positive 150, we want negative 150. All right, awesome. So now we need to go to our content drawer. And we need to go to our UI. And I'm going to actually just duplicate our hearts widget. We're going to call this shield widget. So shield duration widget. Let's open this up. Compile and save. Let's put this all in one. So we need to go to our graph and we need to get rid of all of this logic. We don't need none of this. None of this logic matters for us. Delete, delete, and delete. So none of this logic matters. And we can get rid of all of this as well. We don't need none of this. Delete. So we just need this. And in our box, all we're going to use is our progress bar. In our size box. And we're going to put in the minimum desired height and minimum desired width. So it always draws at a certain size. So 50. Let's do 50 by 10. We'll say 50 by 10. If we need to make it bigger, we'll see. Like I said, I'm doing this all live right now. All right, let's go here. And we're going to change our percent to 1. And we're going to change our percent to fill, instead of from left to right, we're going to do fill from center horizontal, like this. So when it gets bigger, it goes out. And when our time goes down that we can hold the shield, it goes 0. So I like that. We're going to go to our fill and opacity. No, style. Our background image. Here we go. We need to change our tint. And we're going to change the alpha to 0. I don't want this to be visible at all. Actually, should it be 0? Let's not do 0. Let's change it to black first off. And not 0, but let's do point. Let's see what 0.5 looks like. All right, compile and save that. All right, so this is what we're going to need. We don't need this. We can delete this value. We're going to create another one called shield duration. Float. And we may not need to create this too, because I might need to get this from our character. So let's go back to our character. We're done. We're pretty much done with this. This is set up how I want it to be. So let's go back to our Aki character, event graph. We're going to change our widget class for the shield widget. The widget class to shield duration widget. And now we need to basically do this right here. We're going to also, I'm going to clean all this up too, eventually. Eventually. Cast to shield duration widget. There we go. Boom, boom. Get this. We need to get the widget. And we don't really need to reference the shield. We really need the shield just to be able to communicate with our player. So we're going to do this. We're going to make another one. We're going to call this our Aki reference. So Aki. Did I spell that right? Object reference. Compile, save. And we're going to set the Aki reference. And we're going to set that to ourselves. And I hope all this stuff works. Because like I said, I'm doing this live. Typically, I can work way ahead so I can make sure I'm doing everything correctly. Boom, boom, boom. But of course, I don't have an infinite amount of time available. So we're going to make do what we got. So now we need to go here. And we're going to bind our percentage. Create a binding. We got our progress bar. And go to binding. Create binding. And we're going to rename this shield duration bind. So now in our Aki, we need to get something here. We have our shield duration, right? So this is going to constantly change, but we need to create our duplicate shield duration max. And let's organize this bit because it's starting to get crazy. So right here, we're going to go to, where is it at? Category. And we're going to type in combat. Then the straight line above the enter, I don't know the name of it. And we're going to call it shield. This basically breaks it up into categories so we can organize this. You're going to see it have it right here on the left. So if I enter, boom, it organizes. So now it's not all looking wild like this. So let's move this to our combat shield. So now what do we need to do here is we need to have our shield duration and our shield duration max. So what we need to do is this. We need to get our Aki reference. Like I said, I don't think we'll need this duration. So I'll delete that. We need to get the shield duration. And shield duration max. And we need to divide this. Divide the duration by the maximum. Boom. So if we're at our max, if our max is 2 seconds, and if our max is 2 seconds and our duration is 2 seconds, 2 divided by 2 will equal 1, and it'll be 1. It'll show a full bar. But if it's 1 and it's 1 divided by 2, that'll be 0.5, and it'll show 50% of the bar full. So it's just that simple. There's that, and then I want to do something else too. I want to bind our color and opacity. So create binding. Let's rename it shield bar color. And I'm going to show you what I'm about to do for this. So we're going to duplicate this. I want 3. Duplicate. Because there's not going to be a number showing this. So what we're going to do is this. Get our Aki reference. I want the color to show the character, the player, more so what's going on. So shield duration. Then our max. And then we're going to divide this. Divide this by this. And I want to switch. Wait, in range. Let's do that. In range. Float is in range. No. In range. There we go. In range float. So the maximum is 1. And the minimum, let's say, is 0.7. If it's in this range branch, this is true. I want it to show as green. Actually, I like the blue the way it looked. Let's do that. Let's do that Carolina blue. Let's rock with that. So if we have it close to a full amount of shield duration, we want it to show blue. The next thing is this. We're going to duplicate. We're going to call this again. Now, if it's within 0.7 and 0.4, let's say 0.4. If it's within that range, branch again. It's going to show yellow. And then the last thing it show if it's getting near the end is red. False. I don't have to check it really because it's only going to be in those ranges. If it's anything less than that, then we got a problem. Or more than that. Let's do this instead, actually. If it's greater than, I feel like I'm going to do this instead. If it's greater than, let me do that again. Greater than or equal to 0.7. If it's greater than or equal to 0.7, we'll do that. That way it just covers all bases. If it's greater than or equal to 0.7, somehow, some way, it's going to be blue. And if it's less than 0, somehow, some way, which it shouldn't be, it'll be red. So that covers all bases there. And that should be smooth and tasty like gravy. All right, now let's go here. And I am going to make a reference to this, to the widget. So let's promote to a variable. As shield duration widget, we can leave it as that. Boom, boom. So boom, all this should be functional. And let's also go here. Let's search for visibility. Hidden, correct. It's hidden off rip. Cool. Now, one thing we're going to need to do is we need to create the actual button for this to work. So let's go here. My BPs, characters, player character, then it's controls. So we need to create another control. We need to create an input action. Where is it at? Blueprint, animation, input. There we go. Input, and we need an input action, if I can get to it. Input action, MIA underscore block. So we're going to call block, and it just needs to be a Boolean. And triggers is when it's pressed. And release. Press and release. We'll leave it. I was going to think about held, but we'll just do press and release for now. That should be fine. Boom, boom. And now let's open our content drawer back. We got to go to our input mapping context, and we need to add this. So we need to add our mapping, and we need the one I just created. Where is it at? Block. And so the button for that is going to be left trigger. And let's go down. That's cool. And I'm gonna add another one just for the keyboard. I know I said I can't really decide off rip if I should make this even keyboard, playable or not. But let's do this. We'll do right click for the shield. That way I can test it without having to get a controller. Because that was definitely a problem earlier. So let me add that for the interact too, because I couldn't test it off my controller. So let's do E for that. Okay, boom. Okay, back in our shield duration, we're gonna make a custom event. Custom event. Show shield bar. Show shield bar, and then we're going to set visibility. Self visible. We're gonna flip flop. We'll do retriggerable. Retriggerable delay. And we're gonna check every second. We're gonna check something every second. So after that, we're gonna do this. We're gonna call our Aki reference again, and we're gonna get the shield duration. Then we need the max. And we're gonna divide these. We're gonna divide these, and then we're gonna say equals. If it equals 1, which means it's 100%, If it's false, do nothing. If it's true, we're going to duplicate this, set our visibility to false, or excuse me, hidden. And then if it's false, well, let me do this instead of that. If it's greater than or equal to 1, because I don't know, for whatever reason it could be over 1. And of course somebody's blasting music going by. So if that's false, we're going to go back to here to our retriggerable delay. Boom. And this should work out perfectly. So now we need to go here. On started, we need to get our add shield duration widget. And like I said, I'm going to organize all of this off camera most likely. Now that I've showed you how to do it, you know, with the categories, I'm going to organize this off camera. So once it's started, and we're going to have to add way more logic to this as well. This is just simplistic logic to say, hey, once we press the button, do this. But obviously I have to go back and make this more complex. So show shield bar on start. Boom, boom. And then yeah, there have to be a whole lot more checks. Like I have to check if he's in the air, if he's able to block, et cetera, et cetera. So we'll come back to this. But this is just to get us started since we haven't seen each other in a minute. And it's been a minute since I've been on my tutorial. So let's go ahead and do it. Let's test this out. All right. So when I block, you can see it shows, and then it goes away. We got our shield duration, minus, not decrement. I did decrement again. Float minus float, subtract. All right, for now, we're just going to do it like this. Subtract. Now I'm not going to change this. This is not going to be permanent either. 0.1 for ongoing. Set. Shield duration. And then ongoing, we'll do the same thing here. And then on completed, we'll do a delay. Every 0.2 seconds. We'll do this. This is not how I'm going to do this, by the way. This is just for testing purposes to show that this is working. Plus, add, we're going to add 0.1 back. Every 0.1 seconds, we'll add 0.1 back. And then set shield duration. And also, we got to set the shield duration max. Oh, it already is 2. Cool. And then once that's done, branch. Wait, I don't need a branch. Greater than or equal to 2. If that's true, we're going to set the duration to 2. Easy money. And if it's false, we want to do this whole thing again. Easy work. If this is, let's do this. Let's do this. This is less than or equal to 0. Let's do a branch real quick. If this is less than or equal to 0, if that's false, we're going to go here. And if that's true, we'll just set the duration to 0. So now this quick little test will work now. This will work. It just was going below 0, and then it was taking forever to come back up. So I didn't see the test. So let's test this out. All right, now that it's full, we hold it down. You see our shield went away. Then we let go. It fills back up, and you see our bar color changing. So mashallah, that was a quick little tutorial video. It actually didn't go that bad, me doing it live. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and clean this up, make it a bit more functional. Obviously, I just threw some stuff together real fast. But you can already see what we're going towards. I'm going to add more logic to this to make it where it isn't just like, obviously just, you know, it could function anytime. I could be jumping like this, and the shield can go off while I'm jumping or while I'm climbing and all kinds of stuff. And obviously, there's no logic to it. So I'm going to add more logic to that. We'll set up the actual animation for it, and we'll set up the ability to actually block. And we may need to go ahead and get into setting up enemies because we can't test our blocking without something to hit us, right? So we're going to go ahead and get on that. Inshallah, thank you for sticking around. We're going to get more into blocking in the next part. Assalamualaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.